desk. So in this video we'll do a little hands-on on VPC. So let's start. We are on our AWS console and let's search for VPC and click on VPC. Okay, and this is the default one that is available. So what are we gonna do? We will create a new VPC and we'll create a public subnet and a private subnet in it. Okay, click on create VPC and here I can give it the name TQD VPC. Okay, and I'm choosing the IP version for CIDR, and for CIDR block we can choose 10.0.0.0 slash I'm taking this 16. Okay, and if we calculate the total IPs here, we can just go to here and slash 16 calculate. So you are getting a large number of hosts available here, so we can continue. Now here we'll select the tenancy as default, because if we choose the dedicated hardware, that will incur a large amount of charges here. So we are good to go with the default. Create VPC. Okay, so our VPC is created and we can see there's not any subnet associated with it, but we see a route table that is created by default. Okay, we can visit here and you can see there are no subnets associated with it. So उसके बाद में हम जाएंगे subnets में and we're creating a new subnet and we will create one public subnet. Okay, public TQD subnet 1. Okay, for availability zone we have to choose the availability zone. I'm choosing this as US East 1A, and for IP version CIDR, this is the primary block. Okay, you need to enter a new subnet for it. Let me choose here, if I am making the public, let me choose 10.0.0 slash 24. Okay, and here you can see we are getting the 256 total IPs here, and for our convenience we are gonna add a new subnet. Let's name it public TQD subnet 2. Okay, this is also the public subnet, and we'll create this one in the another availability zone, and we'll give the subnet here 10.0.0.1.0 slash 24. Okay, this is basically the next side up after this one. Okay, and we'll create two private subnets, private TQD subnet 1, and we are going to keep the availability zone same as the public. And for private CIDR, let's give it a 0.16.0 slash 20. Okay, so if we calculate this one also and calculate, so we are getting 4096 total IPs here. Okay, this is a larger subnet than the public. Okay, and we are going to add a new subnet. Okay, we are going to name it as the same, but we will replace the 2, and the subnet is 1B, sorry. And for the next side up, if we see the last IP here, there is 10.0.31.255. That means 10.0.32.0 slash 20. Okay, this is the next side up to this one, and create subnets. Okay, so our subnets has been created. If we scroll a bit here, then we can see the available IP address are lesser than the IPs when we were creating these subnets. Okay, and I also told this in the earlier videos. So what's the reason of this? Let me show you. Suppose I'm choosing this one. Okay, so this is the IP cider. Okay, I'm choosing 24 here. So the next IP would be 10. 0.1.0. This is the first IP. So this is the network address, or you can network address. Okay, and if we consider the next, then next will be 1.1. Okay, I'm not taking the network here, obviously. Okay, and this one is for the VPC router. Okay, and the second one is, the third one is 1.2. This is for mapping the AWS provided DNS or the Amazon provided DNS. This is kind of important. If I go for the next one, that is 1.3. This is for future use in AWS. Okay, and the last IP is .255. This is the last IP, and this is the network broadcast address. Okay, broadcast, as Amazon or the VPC doesn't support the network broadcast, but this is reserved by the Amazon. Okay, so these are total 5 IPs that are reserved by the AWS. So we cannot use these IPs here. That's why that are the remaining IP addresses. Okay, now we have created these subnets, but these are not gonna act like the public subnet or the private subnet by its own. We have to configure something else. Let's see that. This is the basic architecture that we've created. Let me create a region also here, क्योंकि VPC region specific होता है. I'm taking only single subnet here for making the diagram simple. Now let's launch a resource in our public subnet. Okay, so if I head to the EC2 launch instance, here in the network settings, what we can do, we can select the VPC that we just created, and here we can choose the subnet that is public. I'm choosing the public subnet here, and you see here the auto assign public IP is disabled, but for public subnet it is handy if we allow the auto assign of public IPs. But doing that, let me just go here, actions, edit subnets, and enable auto assign and save here. Okay, and for the public subnet, this actions, edit subnet setting, enable the public IP and save. I just refresh the page and public EC2 1. Let me select the keep here, and I'm editing the VPC. So I'm choosing the newly created VPC again, and here I can see the auto send public IP is enabled now. For security group, let's create a new security group, and for storage I can choose a 230 GB of storage and launch instance. Let's head up to the instance. Here we can see that we have a public IP here. Okay, इसके पास public IP है, but फिर भी इसको internet connectivity नहीं होगी. If for verifying that, let's connect to this. This is the EC2 instance connect. If I click on connect, you can see failed to connect to the instance because the instance doesn't have any internet connectivity. Okay, so for that we need the configuration for having the internet access to the subnet. Let's see this. So we require an internet gateway. So this is the internet gateway that is attached to the VPC, and whatever the instance which is launched here, we need to associate this internet gateway with this EC2 or the resource that we launch in the public subnet. For that, we have to define the route from this internet gateway to this EC2 instance by the route tables. Okay. So first of all, what is internet gateway? Internet gateway that allows the resources in VPC to connect to and receive traffic from the internet. It is a horizontally scaled, redundant and highly available VPC component. तो इंटरनेट गेटवे अलाउ करता है हमारे VPC में जो भी रिसोर्सेज होंगे उनको इंटरनेट से ट्रैफिक रिसीव करने में और इंटरनेट से कनेक्ट करने में. नाउ ये horizontally scaled होता है, and this is fully managed by the AWS. So we do not have to manage the scalability of this component. Now this requires updating VPC route tables to include a route to the internet gateway, and one VPC with one gateway allowed only. So इसका मतलब अगर मैं एक इंटरनेट गेटवे भी लगा देता हूँ टू माय VPC, तब भी जो मेरा EC2 इंस्टेंस होगा इन अ पब्लिक सबनेट, वो इंटरनेट का ट्रैफिक राउट नहीं कर सकता विदाउट द राउट टेबल्स. Okay, let's see this scale here. I'm going to the route tables and I will create a new route table here. Let's see, name it public route table 1. Okay, and select a VPC. I can select this VPC here and create route table. Now in this we see there is not any subnet association, but without explicit association we see there are 4 subnets. So हमें सिर्फ public वाला इसके लिए allow करना है because we have created a public route table. Okay, so I'm including these 2 public subnets here and save association. Now एक और route table define करते हैं for the private routing. Private route table 1. Okay, VPC here is this one, and create the route table, and in the subnet association edit subnet association and click on private subnets. Okay, this is looking good. I think explicit subnet associations 2 for the private. Verify this. You can see public route table 2 subnets and private 2 subnets. If I go to the VPC again, this is my VPC that I've created, and if I see the resource map, then we can see the subnets are associated with the route tables, and this route table that is created by default doesn't have any association with these subnets. Okay, now we do not have any internet connection or the network connection. So for that, let me create a internet gateway. Create internet gateway and TQD public internet gateway. Action attached to a VPC. TQD VPC attached internet gateway. Okay, this is attached to the VPC. Now if we go to the VPC again, and here we can see the resource mapping again. We have the new network connection, but this is not associated with any of the route table, but this is attached to the VPC. And if I try to connect to this, तब भी मेरे को error आ रहा है because just not by attaching the internet gateway to the VPC, internet अपने आप allow नहीं होगा. What we gonna do? We now define the route from this public subnet to this internet connection. For that, let me just go here. I can select the edit route. If I create a new route, and we allow this IP, this is for the all internet or the public internet. This is basically allow all the traffic from the public internet. And what is the target? There you can see there are multiple targets, but we have the internet gateway here, and we're gonna select this public internet gateway. Save. If I go here and connect to this and connect, how this will connect this time if we have successfully attached the resources. Okay, we see we can log in here, update here. The ping is successful here, so we have the internet connectivity to this EC2 instance. So let's get a summary for this. पहले हमने क्या किया, हमने एक VPC क्रिएट किया. ओके, दिस इज द VPC. उसके बाद में हमने उसके अंदर 2 पब्लिक और प्राइवेट सबनेट बनाए. If I show you the subnets here, these are the subnets. ठीक है, उसके बाद में हमने पब्लिक सबनेट को चुना और उसको इंटरनेट से कनेक्ट किया. उसके लिए हमने दो रूट टेबल बनाई, फर्स्ट वन फॉर द पब्लिक एंड सेकंड वन फॉर द प्राइवेट। अभी सिर्फ पब्लिक के लिए देखते हैं। सो उसके बाद में हमने एक इंटरनेट गेटवे बनाया जिसे हमने VPC से अटैच कर दिया। सो दिस इज द नेटवर्क कनेक्शन और द इंटरनेट गेटवे, ठीक है। और फिर हमने उस इंटरनेट गेटवे से कनेक्टिविटी बनाई अपनी पब्लिक सबनेट की by defining the routes in this. So this was the basic for creating a VPC and associating a public subnet to it. And also हमने फिर एक EC2 इंस्टेंस क्रिएट किया जिसको हमने इस पब्लिक सबनेट में इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी प्रोवाइड की। For private subnet, we will see this in the next session. Thanks.